Hi everyone, I'm your coach Todd Hughley, and today I want to talk about a few things. I've had some questions about the golf swing, and I want to talk about Mr. Malaska a little bit more and the invisible swing, which is one of the most incredible things I've learned, and it's pretty much what I've kind of modeled my coaching around. And then how club face truly is king, and that's something we need to get under control. Now, before we get into it, please hit the subscribe button, like the videos, comment below, and share. Now let's get started. So I'm going to be out on the course making these videos pretty soon. I just kind of was waiting for the weather to cooperate, finally settle down, and make up its mind. Now, I saw a video the other day from a gentleman. Apparently, he critiques other golf theories and golf coaches, and that's what his channel is based upon, and debunking stuff. And his opinion of what Mike teaches was kind of interesting, just because I thought it was wrong in a lot of aspects, how it applies to everybody that plays. However, it's extremely good for beginners, intermediates, and seniors because it's a body friendly motion. But elite players can use that motion as well, because I have elite players that do use it. But it's interesting hearing breakdowns from other coaches. It's his opinion, so you just have to kind of take it with a grain of salt. But he didn't bash on Mike. I just kind of like, nah, that wasn't a great review. I don't think it was an entirely honest review. I just think it was content. But one thing I know about Mike is he knows everything about the golf swing. I mean, he could teach you any way you want to learn. And there's really no such thing as a modern PGA swing, if you will. They don't really exist. There's just that laying the shaft down, hardcore rotational swing, which has done a lot of damage to golfers, in my opinion. Again, opinion, just because I've seen it on the lesson tee so often, and these golfers have trouble with their backs, their hips, their shoulders, their necks, their wrists. They hit a lot of shanks. They have high misses. And I went through a similar deal where I was taught the modern swing at the time, which was kind of similar, but relied a bunch on that flip right there at impact to square the face up. And luckily I had good hands and was a decent athlete, so I could do that. Now, when it comes to the club face being king, whatever it's doing in the swing, your subconscious is generally going to respond. So if you have a club face that's wide open, that generally leads to golfers who come over the top to try to square the face, or who come down and will early release, and also the hardcore flipping of the club because they know the ball's going to the right. Okay, it'll pull, but then go to the right. And then if they do happen to close the club face, it's a giant snap hook left. So the body fights itself simply from that club face being open. Now, golfers who generally have it too strong fight a big hook, because when they come into impact, that club face is closed and that golf ball's going way over there. So they make the compensation of swinging to the right too much and hit blocks or shanks. And every once in a while, they hit the draw and can maintain the swing for a while, but eventually it's going to start doing that again. And again, these are all ways to play that I see day in and day out, especially with videos coming to me. Now, when it comes to the golf swing, to me, the arms are the dominant factor. They tell the body what to do. And if people disagree with that, they're more than welcome. That's just what I've seen with my game and with my students. When golfers control their arms and their bodies all of a sudden start moving the way we want them to, as opposed to them trying to use their body and their arms are all over the place, it's pretty easy to figure out which one kind of drives the golf swing. And he talked about speed coming from the body, when it's, proven that we know where the bulk of our speed comes from. It's our hands, arms, and wrists. Dr. Sasha McKenzie just did another report on that, where, you know, we're talking 74, 75% of speed coming from hands, arms, and wrists. And it's interesting when I see coaches on Golf Channel or in other things, when they talk about adding speed, they never start doing this. They immediately start talking about getting the wrists more involved and the arms more involved. So there's, unfortunately, that information out there still being pushed, that this rotation, or getting up here and rotating really hard, is the fastest, when it just isn't. Now, when we can blend and sequence out the arms and the body efficiently, now we really have something. And the golf swing is all cause and effect. That's one thing, 100%, it's cause and effect. You do something, it's going to cause an effect. How the body moves is generally an effect from what your arms are doing or what the club is doing, and vice versa. That's something I want you guys to really understand. So if you're in pursuit of a perfect golf swing, we're looking for a swing that has very good fundamentals, understands that we want to blend the arms and the body together. And for ultimate speed, we definitely want the arms whipping past the body, but the body's going to be moving to a certain point. And to understand that gravity is what unhinges the wrists and really controls the release. And when we have the correct grip on there and our face and path is good, that's going to produce very good shots. And here's where I'm going to talk about Mr. Malaska's method and the book, The Invisible Swing, which is incredible. And he learned this from his mentor, Joe Nichols. And the first time I did this, I was blown away with how well I hit the golf ball. And it is a massive part of my coaching because it gives golfers a clear roadmap on what to do. Now, when it comes to ground forces and such, yes, I want golfers to push into the ground in the downswing, kind of push away from the golf ball a little bit, get weight and force going back on their heels, because that's going to accelerate the golf club a little bit faster. And that is a very good thing. And I don't talk about that very often, just because so many people get themselves lost in the weeds on that, and they spend way too much time focusing on what they shouldn't be focusing on. They should be focusing on solid contact, getting that golf ball to go where they want it to go, and then working on adding in speed and so on and so forth to make their golf swing better. So before I get in explaining the invisible swing, again, you need to really understand that the club face being open or closed is really going to dictate what happens in your swing, especially even with your setup. If you're set up a certain way, your shoulders, your eye line, all those things are going to dictate what happens with the swing. Your grip, that's all very important. And then the transition in what we do as far as ground forces, my opinion, again, just kind of sitting down, pushing away. You can even apply a little force going forward. But how the hips work is generally this trail hip just pushes back. Okay, we just kind of sit back into that trail hip. And then we don't want to fire that hip on the downswing. Our hands and arms come into this area, which is P6. And then from there, this lead hip just moves out of the way. It just goes like this, which actually gives us the appearance that our hips are firing when all they're doing is basically trading places and kind of swapping out a little bit. My friend Monty did a video on the P's in the golf swing and to not be afraid of them. And he's right. Like P1 is just as addressed. P2 is here. P3 is this position. P4 is the top. P5 is here. P6 is pre-impact. P7 is impact. P8's over here. P9 and then P10. And we don't need to be afraid of those. They should be terms that we use when a coach says, okay, this is off at P3, or this is off at P7 or P8 or P2. You'll understand that. Now, when it comes to the invisible swing, Mike has an acronym, MAGIC. momentum, acceleration, gravity, inertia, centripetal force. That's what makes the golf swing work. And how he talks about it, he has a great video, which I'll put in my description, that he was taught by his mentor, Joe Nichols. And he's had a few, and he's just like me. I mean, I've had a few mentors throughout my career that have helped me come up with my approach, if you will, which is basically just making you better. Do I really have a system? Yeah, I have an approach and a step-by-step system how I want you to improve, but I have game plans that are laid out. But do I force golfers to swing one way? No, not really. I just want them to swing better. That's how I look at it. So his coach taught him to get set up, Mr. Nichols, and when they would get set up, they would draw a line basically from where the handle went straight down. So once they're set up, then they would put tees or a golf ball in a circle outside of the trail foot and outside of the lead foot, marking those particular spots, which became corners. Okay, this is called 3 corners and a flat spot. All right, so now he would have them move the handle over that particular corner and get the club on balance, and that became corner number 1. All right, then in the downswing, that was corner number 2. Then the club would move into the golf ball like a flat spot, and then move over to corner number 3 off the front foot. So again, just to recap that, corner 1 and corner 2 are both in the backswing. So corner 1, corner 2, flat spot over to corner number 3. Okay, and that was just a way to move the club, which is very efficient, and surprisingly, he would say, allow gravity to unhinge your wrists. Now, I've actually taught this in quite a few lessons where I've had golfers that were having trouble understanding how to move the golf club. I got them set up and I used their toes. Okay, kind of simplified it a little bit, just put my twist on it. But had them use their toes, corner 1, corner 2, again, flat spot, corner 3. Now, I would tell them to come down and feel like they swing like this, to actually feel like they level the club over the ground. And when they would add speed to it, their wrists would unhinge, okay? That would only happen, however, if they had the correct tension levels. If they were too tight, they would say, ooh, I felt the club go down, but it didn't get all the way down. If they were too loose, they would chaos. But if they were just right, okay, then the club and the club head just unhinges and works into the golf ball. And this became a wonderful drill for myself and a lot of students to help them get a feel of, number 1, how the handle and the takeaway work. Just get that handle over corner number 1, let that trail hip move out of the way, and then how the downswing, you kind of sit, bring your hands over corner number 2, and you'd feel that would happen, but gravity would unhinge your wrists and you'd run the club into the ball, okay? And then you'd come over to corner number 3. Now, just to demonstrate, so corner 1, corner 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. All right. Now, I felt that the club was doing this. I felt that. Now, Mike talked about him playing a few months going like this and going over corner 1, corner 2, flat spot, corner 3, and of course his body would respond, and getting his swing back on track. And I have done that. And it really worked wonders. And there's times, even if I'm a little bit off, I'll make a practice swing where I'll go like this and feel everything, and it will tie my body and club, and the swing just comes back together because my body moves efficiently, my hands and arms move efficiently, the club seems to generate more speed because of momentum and acceleration. And then me moving backwards and centripetal force whipping that club past me, that adds more speed. And then of course my fundamentals are good, so my grip is on there, and my ball flight is predictable. Now, you can hit shots where I talk about 12, 1, and 11. And again, that's my little spin. You can work on your path when it comes to coming down. You can have a path that goes more that way for a draw, 12 for a straight shot, 11 more for a fade. And it's remarkable how well they work. But again, I'm going to hinge my wrists up. I'm going to feel I go like this, and that the club goes over the golf ball, but it's going to run into the ball. There, okay? And it is a very flush and very pure strike. And I would really like you to try this, just because it's going to give you direction on what you're trying to do. There's no guesswork. You're going to hit the corners, corner 1, corner 2, corner, the club flattens out in front of you as it goes over to corner number 3. Now, if the flat spot is confusing to you, you don't have to imagine that. You can still just go corner 1, corner 2, run into the ball, and go over corner number 3. That flat spot is to give you a feeling of freedom, and then helps you understand how that happens, how the wrists unhinge, and how the club works into the golf ball and gives you a proper release. And if you want shaft lean, this will help with that. And it's interesting because shaft lean comes from your body's rotation, all right? It's not from dragging the handle. If I come down and I stop and I try to hit the golf ball, not much shaft lean. But if I move my body, a little bit of rotation, now the shaft lean shows up. And I'm one of the coaches that thinks you only need 1 or 2 degrees. I'm not after that 4, 5, 6, 7 degrees of shaft lean. I think that's crazy, just because number 1, now all our clubs are strong. Number 2, I want you to consistently return the club to neutral, maybe a degree or 2 forward. And then on certain short game shots, we want to be neutral for sure. And anyway, this little motion of here, here, here will help you develop a swing. And it works with driver, it works with wedges, it works with irons, doesn't matter. Everything is the same, except now you just have a roadmap, even if you're hitting your driver, that your hands go over corner number 1, come down over corner number 2, level out to here like this, and then work over corner number 3. And what's interesting with your irons, your hands are going to be here probably, and with your driver, they're going to be a little further away from your body, and with the fairway woods, just because the club is a little bit longer, and your arc is going to be wider and longer, just because the club is bigger. So it is a little bit of a different swing, just because the club is longer, but the principle is still the same. So this hopefully has helped answer a lot of questions and gives you something you can really work on. And you can work on this just with pitching to start. Just get set up again. Now, you can look at the video that I will attach in the description of Mike, and then just kind of how I teach it, where you go over the toes, and then your hands come down, and then the level. And in a good swing, I always talk about the hands are under the shoulders. So once we're set up and we come down in the downswing, now our hands are under our shoulders. The back still remains to the target, and you can just hit little pitch shots. And again, that felt like I was slightly floating the club above the golf ball, and I called this the float drill, and it's had a ton of success. And this comes from Mr. Malaska, who learned it from Joe Nichols, who I'm not sure if he came up with this or if he learned it from someone else, but The book is called The Invisible Swing. It's an extremely good book, and this approach, literally of just corner 1, corner 2, flat spot, corner 3, will really give you a great roadmap and game plan of what you're trying to do. And my students, especially those locally, will attest to that. I want that club on balance. I want those hands coming into here. I want that golf club coming from the inside like this, and then over to that corner over there. I might not get in depth with it. I haven't really broken it down like this. I've made videos on the corners before, but not this in depth, and talking about other things. But this is a phenomenal way to play golf. And gravity, you'll find out if you're too tense, because you'll top it. If you're too loose, you'll hit it fat. And you'll also find out where your low point is very quick. And Joe had Mike actually test his tension levels by hitting the golf club on top because of a tension level, in the middle, and then hitting a good shot, all from having tension level increases or decreases. So that shows you how incredible of an athlete Mike and some of these other guys are with their hands, that they can have that type of feel. And you will develop that with practice. But this is going to be a huge part, it already is a huge part of my website, but I'm going to make it more, just based on this roadmap and this theory, because I think it's brilliant. It is, in my opinion, the cure-all for most golfers. Motion, just being relaxed in motion, and then this little game plan of here, club gets back out in front of you and over to here. I mean, that's a no-brainer, and that's going to get the club in the proper arc. Gravity and all the other forces that we use every single day are going to be involved, and it's going to make you have a much better golf swing. So if you have any questions on this, and I hope you do, please let me know.